back to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna take you through 7 poses that you can do at home just on your bed. No other furniture required, no fancy design required. A little bit of natural light helps, but if you have artificial light, why not? Here are the poses that we're going to be talking about in this video, but beyond poses, we're going to be talking about how to create a vibe with such a minimal setup, including just a bed and a duvet. Of course, this includes things like props, camera angles, color coordination, and expression. Now let's hop into the first photo. So this photo is taken front on. The camera is actually positioned at around my arm level, so in between my elbow and my shoulder. It's taken from afar. What you can see me doing on the right hand side of the screen here is using my mobile as a remote. With my mobile I can actually see the screen of my camera, and now I'm just trying to position myself so that I can get a little bit of balance. The thing about shooting on a bed is that a bed is flat, and so the duvet helps with creating dimension, while the camera angle is responsible for how you see the composition of the shot. Here the book really helps as a prop because it allows me to use my arm to create even more dimension in what could be a very flat shot. So it allows me to create lines with my limbs, and therefore what could look like a flat shot has a few more different levels. My anchor when it comes to creating any shot is the vibe or the mood that I want to create. In this shot, I wanted to do like a bedroom style without being too sensual, but at the same time sticking to femininity. That explains the camisole. So the camisole and the short shorts, it's kind of like the wake up vibe. And because that in itself is already quite feminine and soft and can be sensual, I wanted to neutralize it with less action in the shoulders, less action in the legs, just let the outfit and the props speak for the shot. Okay, so the first thing that you need to know about the next shot I'm about to show you is that the camera is positioned at a much higher place than the first one. That's how you're able to see more of what's on the bed rather than just a side view of the bed. Now in terms of the pose, I use my limbs to create lines. My leg in the foreground is low and straight, and the one in the background is arched. Little tip, if I were to arch my front leg, then that would block the back. So I always arch the limb that's at the back instead of the one at the front. Now, talking about styling this image, I really wanted to convey the idea of comfort in bed. So the first shot was about waking up in bed, and this is about spending the day in bed. So the outfit's kind of like you had already gotten out of bed and then went back into bed. You've got the fluffy socks, you've got denim shorts, and a loose jumper, or some of you guys call sweater. I play around with the hairstyle as well because hairstyle affects the final image. For me, when I have my hair down, sometimes it can look a little bit top heavy. So I still want to look long and lean in the shots, and I find that having my hair up when I'm wearing a long sleeve top works a bit better for me. I do play around with a few different poses and check out my angles. I use my phone screen as a guide because, like I said, I can see what my camera can see through my phone. I'm using my Nikon Z50 to shoot this, and the app called SnapBridge to be able to use my phone as both a remote but also a viewfinder. It also allows me to focus in on the right places just by tapping the screen of my phone. This next set of shots is inspired more by the wardrobe, which is inspired by lockdown/isolation itself. You know, where you kind of want to go out but you're still homebound. That explains the denim pants and the it's actually a swimsuit top that I'm wearing, and the hat, of course. So the hat and the denim are kind of like an ode to going out, and the swimsuit top is my alternative to a bra, because if I were wearing a bra instead, that would make this more like an underwear/lingerie shoot, but I wanted it to be more about outerwear. I've also made the poses so that they complement this outerwear kind of look. So it's less about being comfortable and relaxing in bed as it is just sitting in bed at home but wanting to go out. The camera is positioned a little bit more in front of me than it was in the last shot, and the last shot is more to the side of me, and this time it's a little bit more to the front of me, and it's still above the height of my head. Again, I'm using my limbs to create lines. When I'm sitting down, especially on a flat surface like this, not a chair, I do like to arch one of my legs just because it creates more dimension. And then when I find a position that I like, I make small movements and tweak my movements and expression to create a few different looks, and then I choose from that. I do have a posing cheat sheet which I've made available by PDF. Now, it's not from this shoot in particular, but it does map out the principles that I use when it comes to posing, about where to position your limbs, where to position a camera, and that PDF is available for you to download for free. You can find it in the description box of this video. The vibe of this photo is very much like the first one, which is all about waking up in bed, but this one's a little bit more sensual. It is toned down a little bit by the facial expression, which is happy, smiling, which then makes this image more about the overall mood. Now, this pose is a lot more flat in comparison to the others, so the positioning of the blanket, hair, and the camera plays a big role in creating depth. What I can tell you is that the camera was positioned perpendicular to where I was facing in comparison to where my video camera was positioned, which is directly in front of me. So feel free to rewind back to the image to see the difference. This set of images is quite similar in how it was made, except the difference is, of course, the wardrobe and the use of props. Now let's talk about shooting skin for a sec. I've always loved shooting skin, and I've always loved aesthetics where skin is present but not necessarily screaming for attention. That's what I had in mind when I styled this set, so I paired a long sleeve crop top with some bathing suit bottoms. Of course, there's nothing wrong with shooting skin however you want. This is creative expression, but this is my personal taste. Now what you can see here is my video camera faced directly sort of in front of me at about eye level. But the camera taking photos is actually positioned much higher above my eye level to be able to see more of what's on the bed rather than seeing what's just on the side of the bed. Just a little note, this photo is very similar to the last photo which I just showed you, but I did move the camera just slightly a little bit more forward to me to create a different look. Let me show you a little bit more closely. The image on the left is slightly more revealing than the one that's on the right, and that's the difference made by moving your camera a little bit more to the left or just a little bit more to the right. Okay, so this set is a little bit more about sass and fashion. Now, the thing about this shot is that obviously with the legs against the wall, you have to position your camera in such a way where you get enough length from your torso and also enough length with the legs. And when you're shooting on a flat surface, like a bed, it's really all about where you angle your camera. See where my video camera is currently placed? If I were to place my actual photo camera there, then my upper part of my body would be cut off. But in the actual photo, you'll notice that you can actually still see my torso, and that's because the camera is actually positioned quite high. Now, what I end up playing around with here is the positioning of legs and arms and my prop, still working with the concept of lines and shape. You might notice that the photo on the left is a lot brighter and less yellow than the video version on the right, and that's because of two reasons. One, I used my softbox. I used artificial lighting because I was shooting during sunset and it was getting really dark in the room. And the second thing is that I used my Lightroom presets. So Lightroom presets are like custom filters which you make, and I made these ones for myself. I have made them available for purchase, so you can check them out in the description box of this video. For this last set, I placed the camera and tripod on the bed to be able to create a bit of a flat lay effect. The prop that I've got here is a black coffee for the morning just woken up vibes, and then what I really play around with is the positioning of arms, hair and hands. Bear in mind when you're shooting, sometimes the position can actually make you go tense, but you've got to keep in mind to keep everything soft, including your facial expression, the way you hold a cup, the way you position your arms, just so that it doesn't look too posy. Now, this last shot might look a little bit funny on here, but if you were to place it on its own, it's got a little bit of an artistic twang to it. And honestly, sometimes it's just a little bit fun to create something where it might not always be logical, but gives you that framework to be able to challenge yourself in terms of creating something that is more abstract. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And like I mentioned, if you like the look of the poses in this video, you can download my posing cheat sheet. I've put the link in the description box of this video. They are not the photos from this shoot, but they are the same principles that I use every time I need to get my photos done by someone else, or if I have to take my own photos. Also, I edited my photos with my own presets, which I've made available for purchase. You can also access them in the link, which is located in the description box of this video. Let me know if you've got any questions when it comes to posing or camera angles or photography. Drop your questions in the comment section down below. Any video requests, pop them in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!